What's going on, guys? Back with another video. Appreciate for those that subscribed and saw my last video on when I was talking about credit. I still plan on doing another one where I run through a little bit more in depth what I've done, with my credit cards and points and whatever. So be on the lookout for that. But today I want to talk about my career as an athlete. I was a swimmer for pretty much my whole life. So, wanted to highlight some of the things I've learned, how that experience shaped me who I am today, some of those, lessons I've learned from competing. So I guess I started swimming when I was 7 and all the way through college when I was 23. There's ups and downs, of course. Like when I was younger, I was pretty decent at it. And then I kind of was a late bloomer, so I lagged behind a little bit. And then during college, I started doing well again. And, there's a lot of what I've learned. A lot of things where you go on the YouTube or you might go on the Instagram, you think there's just like a silver bullet, to things, how to get rich, how to run this business, or how to be good in sports. And being someone that's lived, sports for 14 years, I can tell you right now that there's no silver bullet to it. You just have to keep showing up. And it's kind of a humbling thing, but also somewhat of a calming sensation because if you keep showing up and you're doing your best and you have a purpose and you like what you do, you will do well. So today I want to talk a little bit more about the discipline that comes from training every day, right? It's a grind. You have to wake up early, train for multiple hours a day, and there's no shortcuts. Just like a lot of consistency and repetition. So having that habit of discipline has served me well too into what I do today in business. It's somewhat of an equation, right? I think, for example, in business, like I have the cars on tour, for example, and I can run, in my mind or in my Excel of how much each car makes, how much I want to make per month, and it just becomes like an equation, so it's something similar to swimming where, so many hours I do, the times I'm swimming at, a certain times of season, it's a good predictable to how we'll swim at the end of the season. So, that discipline, that predictability has carried over with me, up to today. And it's something I foster a lot. It's something I want to keep, uh, very close to my heart. Is that discipline. Learning to handle pressure and competition is also, wow, it's something I've learned a ton from that experience. The business world's pretty competitive, and I used to be a sprinter in college, so sometimes you would lose a race by zero point zero 0.02 or zero point 0.1, and these things, you can't even see it. It's so quick, and you might not make a final, you might not get a cut that you wanted by something that you can't even perceive it on video. So having that competition of doing my best, even when I'm feeling bad, is something that has carried over on my 9 to 5, on my business. Just always having consistency of doing the things I have to do, analyzing the situation and executing it is something I do a lot today in my 9 to 5 and has helped me a lot. Learning how to thrive under pressure, like I mentioned earlier in competition, it's something that you manage on a call. If you're on sales, like I am on a business deal, when you're controlling your emotions, you really get that edge. And I think when you have that butterfly in your stomach feeling, I think that's something powerful. And you can't let it overwhelm you. It's pretty easy to let it overwhelm you in that moment. But if you harvest that energy and use it in your favor, I, it's awesome. I think it's when you're the most alive. When I was swimming, I had so much fun. When I had to compete, it was super stressful, but it was also some of the times that I felt the most alive. You know, so embracing failure and pushing through losses is something that I've had to deal with a lot. Um, you swim a lot. You train for 6 months, 10 months, 11 months. We only take 2 weeks break throughout the season, throughout the year, essentially. So there's a lot of time invested, and sometimes you just don't swim as fast as you want. So embracing that, understanding that you can learn and grow from that experience, I think it's key. There's been times where actually a few months ago for the business Turo, I bought a car, but it had a bad transmission. So I just ended up having to sell it. It was a cheap car, so I didn't lose much money, but that's something that made me kind of upset, and I had to embrace it. I had to push through. I could have very well been like, oh well, screw this business, I'm done, and just kind of call it quits. But I understand that sometimes you fail, and you just have to learn from your losses and just kind of keep going. Something else I want to talk through is mental toughness and adaptability. Sometimes when you're racing, it would happen sometimes, but your goggles would fill up. You just jump in the water, do your start, and you're swimming the 100 free, and you can't see anything, right? So it's something that you have to adapt, and you just do your best. So you have to be tough at that moment, and just keep moving forward, right? You just can't stop your race, and that happens a lot in business. Like I just mentioned earlier, I had one of the cars, blow a transmission, so it's something that you never want to happen. But some things I've learned, close out the video, is hard work, consistency, and learning from your mistakes and your setbacks will help you out a ton in life, not just in your 20s, but in business, in your 9 to 5. And you just have to have the attitude of working hard. There's no silver bullet. There's no shortcuts to this kind of stuff. So if you like the video, leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys.